Well, the trend continues, COD adding stuff in that's not mentioned on the patch notes with an update. Who would have guessed it? Today we're breaking down the stealth changes you may have missed with update 1.12 or the Season 1 Reloaded update. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Any of these you find yourself, like any of these stealth changes, whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2 and anything COD related if you'd like to join us on the road to 600,000 subscribers. And finally, today's video is brought to you in part by private internet access, but more on them in a bit. For now, let's take a look at the stealth changes of update 1.12. So starting out with some content side of things here, Shipment Holiday was actually something that was added in with this update. It's not quite live just yet. That'll be live here shortly, but for right now, we still have the standard version of Shipment, but you can preview this in private match if you want to go around and check it out. It is something that's a little bit more laid back of a holiday theme here to it, as opposed to what we had with, say, Vanguard, which was a bit over the top depending on who you asked. And of course, with things like the overabundance of the thermite grenades, it became a hellscape pretty quickly, but doesn't seem like this will be the same sort of one-to-one comparison with that. Instead, just some minor cosmetic details and updates, some snow falling and things like that, but you can check it out for yourself if you're at all interested. Then the next content we see is that we actually got 2 gift packs in the shop. If they are not available yet for you, they should be soon, but from what I've seen, they are live for a lot of people. These, of course, being bundles that cost you absolutely no cash. You just get to redeem them. The first being the Snowflake Weapon Charm and the Cartwheels in Snow sticker as the secondary one. Now, in Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, and I think in Vanguard, we ended up getting these all throughout the holiday season, so we may end up seeing more here in the coming days to weeks, and fingers crossed we get some cooler items than just stickers and weapon charms. We've seen blueprints given for free here out of the last couple of years, so maybe we'll see that once again. Beyond that, we now have the ability to save custom blueprints, which is honestly really good, really nice to see that finally being introduced here, and is something that I kind of thought would be there from the beginning, given that it was something that was a unanimous win from Modern Warfare 2019 and beyond with Cold War and Vanguard, though of course those also did have delays in their custom blueprint saves as well. Now, one thing that I will say is be aware that these may be bugged. Beyond the fact that there's a private match glitch with these, that you can end up setting up private match stuff and having anything you want, whether you have it unlocked or not, and then transferring it over into MP. I created custom blueprints for weapons in Warzone, and when I went to grab my weapon from my loadout drop or a stronghold loadout, it either gave me my weapon stripped without attachments or no weapon at all in some cases, and just my fists. So obviously that's not ideal. You want to pick up your weapon and actually get your weapon. So maybe this was an isolated incident that you may not have experienced, and if so, I love that for you. I'm glad you didn't have to experience that bug, but if you did, that may be why. Going throughout the night and trying to test whether or not this was actually the blueprints or not, it seemed to come down to that every single time, where I'd create loadouts with weapons that were created just in Gunsmith and not pre-saved blueprints, and those ones would show up from the Gunsmith, while the blueprints still again either stripped my weapon or gave me just fists. So we'll see how that all works out, but just know you can save your blueprints. There just may be an asterisk here with it. Additionally, we saw on the content side of things, maybe 2 war tracks, at least one added in with this update. The Holiday Havoc war track is previewable right now, however. We see that there are new loading screens that have been added in for a preview with this update, likely coming in bundles in the future here, but being viewable as of right now. And finally, on the content side of things, the MP trial mosh pits have been added in as of yesterday's update. This one, we're going to round out the content side of things because this one won't be around forever, so it's not a lasting change, but it was added into the game without any mention of it in the patch notes. So these being there for the free-to-play players that end up just, say, having Warzone 2.0 and DMZ, but it's a mosh pit for those players that don't own the free game of LSEO, Farm 18, and Shipment in 6v6 format, and then also the third-person mode ends up having the same thing on the same maps, but again, just in third person. Now, where you'll see most of these changes, though, are the quality of life and other noticeable changes with, like, the game menus and such. Firstly, one of the ones that I think is a really nice change is that the camo challenges, once completed, it will now no longer just say weapon challenge completed. It will now denote underneath that what challenge unlock they were for, what challenge you actually completed. So definitely nice, and it's something that if you're tracking camos, if you're close to one or the other, it'll let you know which one you're actually there. Or if you're like me, you thought, okay, maybe I completed my headshot camos for polyatomic, when really it was just weapon mastery and getting that gold or platinum camo done and the amount of kills you needed with that. So it's going to be nice to distinguish one or the other. There's a new way to enter the firing range with a new icon in the menus now available. There's a new way to mute players in the UI in-game. Instead of just going to the scoreboard now, hitting square, X, or whatever you have bound on PC to open it up, usually tab, it brings up a secondary menu, which is just convoluted to say the least. The previous method worked just fine and saved a few seconds in game time, which if you're on a streak, that could be life or death. So to add another step here to that, I don't quite understand, but that was a change made no less. There's a new addition to the Warzone scoreboard whenever you go in and check that as well. This will now show team totals across your squad, which is pretty cool, I think. If you're chasing down your personal records or something like that, you can see just how well you're doing instantly instead of having to do any quick maths here and there. Now, there's also a few new smaller UI introductions. We now have a new lobby members button that'll show all players in the lobby immediately. Instead of previously you had to search for a match, you got queued into one, and then you had to wait to see who was in the match until that final lobby menu countdown started. Now, this is both in multiplayer and in Warzone, though in Warzone it will only show some of the Warzone lobby, not all, naturally, because 150 people would be pretty overwhelming to scroll through, but this is available for anybody. The moment you connect to a lobby, you can check out who's actually in that lobby. Now, there's also a new "You are not the party leader" icon that shows up if you end up trying to scroll over something and search for a match, but if you're not that party host, it won't let you, naturally. And there's also a new quick quit to desktop UI on PC, which can be helpful if you need to get out of something real quick. And then finally, one thing that's definitely nice, myself going into private matches a lot, is that private matches now no longer kick you out to the main menu, instead just sending you back to that private match lobby menu. This, again, love it. Couldn't tell you how many times I've had to go in and get screenshots or something for thumbnails, test something out, and then get booted all the way back to the main menu, have to wait for it to set up the private matches again and all that kind of stuff. So while at a glance it's only like saving you 30 to 45 to 60 seconds, that'll add up over time, and it's definitely nice to not have to deal with anymore. Now, I will say additionally, it was mentioned in the patch notes, but we didn't get around to mentioning it, is that now as of yesterday's update, the CDL Moshpit will now allow you to create your own CDL Moshpit specific classes right there in the playlist pre-searching menu, whereas previously you had to rely on private matches. You had to go into private match, set up your classes, and then go into CDL Moshpit from there. So definitely nice to be able to streamline that a little more. Now, of course, that was changes, and naturally, there's a lot of bugs that come out of every single update as well. This update being no different in that regard. But before we continue, I want to let you know about today's sponsor, Private Internet Access. Keep yourself private online with a VPN with 10 plus years of expertise under their belt. No lag, no packet loss. They work with the best server providers around the world to offer the best user experience. What's great as well is that they have a no log policy. They don't save any logs of any user data. None. Zero. That's proven time and time again. With servers in 83 countries in every single US state here, available on Windows, Mac, Android, Linux, iOS, and more, and working with every major streaming service out there, you can search the content you want or have any level of privacy you want. So protect yourself while online, and with today's offer, they extended their holiday season offer with a link down in the description below, that being a whopping 83% off the price of a 2-year plan, which also will give you 4 additional months for free, working out to only $2.03 a month, all of that with a 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not satisfied. It's their best deal that they have, and it won't be around for too much longer, so if you're at all interested, check the link in the description below. But once again, thanks to Private Internet Access for sponsoring today's video. So, talking about these bugs here, back to it. I'm sure that you've probably experienced these, if not a lot more, and again, feel free to drop it down below if you have, but things like audio not working, camo progress isn't tracking for some people, or so it seems. I've actually seen that this, for some people, is just a visual glitch where it does continue to track, but it just doesn't show that progress in the menus, which is incredibly irritating. But again, I take that over not tracking at all, though ideally it'd just work altogether. There was a significant decrease in the amount of buy stations around Al Mazrah in Warzone. Warzone perks are still broken. Some of these are being investigated by Infinity Ward, but one thing that also kind of bothers me in regards to that is the fact that Bird's Eye was actually taken out of the default classes and the perk setups that we have because it was bugged. So instead of fixing that, they actually just removed it entirely. For those that weren't aware, Bird's Eye allowed you to end up seeing every single UAV ping, whether that be from strongholds or from enemies as well. So that's something that was broken, but again, weird that they just took it out under the radar once again. So I guess instead of additions, we could actually just add this to the stealth changes in regards to Bird's Eye being removed. Beyond that though, the new camo preview is straight up blinding. If you go in and try and select a camo, you'll probably be blinded by your gold, platinum, or any camo like that that has a brighter aesthetic to it. The crashing issues are still persisting from what I've seen. Personally, I think I got lucky. I crashed once yesterday. As you guys know, I crashed a lot before this update, anywhere from once every 30 minutes or so to sometimes even more. But having only crashed once out of yesterday in that marathon of playing on update day, I may have just got lucky more so than anything else. So we'll see how that continues over time. But of course, there's probably much more as well. So the thing that I end up having a little concern here with this about is that while this stuff was added under the radar, we also do need more fixes here to stuff. So as for when these issues persisting or new issues that popped up will get fixed, That's kind of a tough one because unless these fixes are pushed out in the next few days, the teams are about to go on holiday for Christmas and New Year's. So who knows when beyond that we'll get those fixes. I don't think it's quite as bad as Caldera and the Warzone Season 1 launch with Vanguard, but it is still at the same time, there's still plenty of stuff that needs fixed. So fingers crossed we get that here sooner rather than later. But for now, that is the secret changes or the stealth changes with Season 1 Reloaded's update. So let me know your thoughts down below. How many of these did you see yourself? Anything that we may have missed, you can add to this list. Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD related. For now, thanks so much for watching. Moshpit Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.